Start with parents. I am Sarika Shah. I am a special educator by profession. I run a blog called as Life of a Special Educator on Facebook, and I also have an Insta account where I share my work. The intention of that blog is just to share lesson plans and whatever teachings, whatever I learn across my journey. I share it with parents and professionals, whoever wants to use that. And apart from that, I have done my master's in education, and I like to work. So I can work with kids having different disabilities, but I have a passion to work with kids who are who have autism. So that's what explains my journey in taking this initiative. So I welcome you all on this for this webinar. And my team is Dipali Nakar. She's an MH Special Education Hearing Impairment. We have Dr. Dolly Gada, who is the autist, and she has a specialization in sensory integration. And then there's Roshna Patel, who's a parent and a remedial educator herself. So we'll have all the deep, in-depth introductions when they are presenting. So let's start with my presentation. So you might have seen this, you might be wondering, Sarika, we all have come here with the diagnosis for our children. We know that our child have autism. Then why do you want us to understand autism again? Because we all know this, right? We all know our child can't make eye contacts, our child cannot communicate. Then why are you taking us through this journey? Why are you making us understand autism? The only reason behind this, parents, is sometimes what happens is a person with autism, we have to understand, is not a mentally retarded person. He has an intelligence, he has his personality. The only thing is his personality doesn't matches with the rest of the world. So what we try to do, we try to make them like us. We try to include them in our type of thinking, our type of world, which is not exactly they are looking for. They are born with a different personality, they have their different needs. So that is the reason, time and again, even us professionals and you parents need to remind yourself, what is autism, what are you dealing with? It's such a beautiful thing. Why do we want to convert them like us? So that is the whole reason why I'm taking you again through understanding autism. So of course, we know it can result in difficulties, communication, socializing with others, and sensory perceptions. Now, many of you had asked questions about when to get a diagnosis. Definitely, many get an early diagnosis as early as 1.5 years. And the typical age of the onset is considered as 3 years. So anytime between that, if you get the diagnosis, that is the early intervention phase starts right from there. Of course, there are 3 categories of autism. One is mild, which is the lowest version of autism, moderate, and severe. And many people asked, many parents said, my son was or my child was given a diagnosis of PDD. So PDD was an old nomenclature. It was called as pervasive developmental disorder. Now everything comes under one thing. It's called as autism spectrum disorder. So why you need to know this? Tomorrow you go to somebody for get a diagnosis or a recheck, and they, I have seen in one of the comments, a parent said, my general physician said he has PDD. So don't get confused. PDD was an old term where everything had a different classification, but now everything comes under ASD. There is no separate Asperger's, there is no separate pervasive development disorder. Everything is termed as ASD, which stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder. Characteristics. Now, parents, this I have classified for your, for your convenience, so that you can, okay, sorry, yeah, I think I forgot to tell you guys, we'll be sharing all the presentations with you. So don't waste your time in copying things. Try to hear out how much we want to say rather than making notes. Few things which is not there on the slide and you want to make a note of it, go ahead. But all the slides will be shared on the group, right? Okay. So characteristics, I have classified under 4 areas. Now this will help as parents for you all to understand how do you classify these 4 areas for your child. Cognitive characteristics, academic characteristics, social and emotional characteristics, behavioral characteristics. Now, under cognitive characteristics, what happens is cognition is how you understand, how we interpret. Like when I asked everybody, go on mute, everybody knew what I said because your cognition tells you to do that. If I had this 35 people with, in the ASD, and I asked them to mute, it will be very difficult for them to do it by themselves. Now that explains a lot. The thing is, they are unable to understand other people's beliefs and emotions. And at the same time, parents, this is code. We have to understand we face difficulty, but at the same time, they also face difficulty in explaining their own behaviors. So we have to be very mindful of that. Academic characteristics. Now we have many young parents here whose kids are, they're about to start education. One thing that can easily work with any child parents is rote learning. What is rote learning? Rote learning is another term for mugging up. I gave you a line, I asked you to mug up. I gave you a word, I asked you to mug up. In simple terms, that's rote learning. And trust me, kids under autism spectrum, you can easily help them do the rote learning. And they can easily, like a parrot, they can see CAT cat, BAT bat, RAT rat, they can keep on saying that. But tell me, is that kind of training advantageous or disadvantageous? What happens is when parents come to me as a special educator, they say, मेरा बच्चा तो पढ़ सकता है मैडम, sentences पढ़ सकता है. My child can read a complete sentence. But is that going to help them if they don't understand what they are reading? So for me as a special educator, it's a total no-no to rote learning. Please do not promote any rote learning. If your child can read one word and he can understand what it means, that is more important than he be able to read 50 words. So please, if you are observing your therapist is motivating you to do rote learning, kindly refrain from that. Recommend your therapist not to train your child for rote learning, but to understand. Few things like multiplication tables and all that, that is meant to be done by rote learning. You can go ahead with that. But other than that, any comprehension should not be rote learning. They need a lot of motivation to work. Trust me, now during this pandemic situation, when we have moved to online, there are such beautiful online motivations that is working for the child. Like, showing a video a child likes, playing a game that the child likes. So there are so many things that even you can do during the online days as well. But what is the key thing? What we forget about giving a reward to a child as a motivator. Now, if I have asked my child to read 5 words. The minute he reads his 5th word and we think he has done a good job, immediately we have to give the child in the spectrum a reward. We cannot wait till the end of the session and tell the child, look, you remember beginning of the session, you read the 5 words properly. He will not understand. If you want to reward the child, it should be instantly, immediately, right after the work is done. Parents, please make a note of this. This is a key point, or else your rewards won't work. Many parents come up and say, Sarika ma'am, I had put a reward chart, but it is not helping me. Why? Because parents wait for the end of the day. The child has no relation. Why is he earning it for? If you give it immediately, he will understand that he's been rewarded or motivated for a good work. Language disorder. We all know, most of the parents have been talking about the same. My child babbles, my child can't talk, my child can't make sensical words. Because definitely the autism, one of the characteristics, it has a language disorder. Okay. You might be feeling my child cannot maintain proper distance. Sometimes he goes very close to somebody and he talks. But look, we have to help, we have to understand that your child here is under the ASD. You cannot expect him to behave like us. So at the time, you can train the person in front of you, saying that, look, this is how my child behaves. He doesn't mean bad to you. And then you can work with your therapist to help your child, modify that behavior. Fail to make eye contact. It's not a crime if he's not making eye contact. He's born with autism. We cannot force him to make eye contact. We can try, but we cannot force him. his intent of communication. We people, who are not in the autism, we try to think that, you can also see my body language. We can understand the body language. Sometimes, when we are sarcastic, we say something, we mean something. But a child in the autism spectrum requesting me participants.
School admission children.
Participants, please check your mic. Thank you. Thank you. So the intent of communication is not understood. So you cannot expect from them that, you're trying to be sarcastic or you want to use your body language and the child in autism is going to respond to it. It's not going to possible. So who is the one who will understand this? It is us, the therapist. It is us, the parents, who has to understand this. That if I don't use a very minimalistic command for my child in the spectrum, he or she is not going to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. We see a lot of immaturity in the language. Sometimes they don't respond to what we are asking in the appropriate way. They are saying something different. Now, it all comes from their diagnosis of having autism. Behavior characters. Many people asked, this, it's called as stimming. Somebody asked that, they asked that my child likes to swing. He likes to swing a lot. Definitely, Dr. Gada is going to elaborate, she will talk about these things, but these are called as stimming. Okay. Autistic kids, many of them will have such stimming urges. You can call it like an urge. So I can say as simple as, I'm sitting here, you've tied my hand. Okay. And I have an itch here. I have an itch here. And you've tied my hands and it's a bad itch. It's a very bad itch. What do? I'll go restless. I want to, I will try doing this. I'll try touching my shoulder. Still, I'm not able to do that. And how will I feel? That is how you have to understand when you ask your child to stop stimming. That is how he feels. That is the internal urge. That is the intensity of the urge that particular child gets from stimming. Now, of course, many a times the stimming are socially appropriate. Sometimes it is not appropriate. So the thing that you can do is you have to understand where is the stimming arriving from. Is it a situation that is causing stress to the child? When he's been exposed to loud sound or bright light, and that that induces anxiety in him. You have to keep a keen eye. But please don't stop your child from stimming right away. If the child has that urge, always remember the example I gave, that you have an itch on your face and somebody has tied your hands. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Step into your child's shoes, empathize with him, and trust me, parents, your journey is going to be very, very easy. So now this is the team I was talking about, because many parents in lockdown, they're asking for questions about academic advices, or about behavioral advices. Parents, every child in the spectrum, mild, moderate, or severe, they should have this preferred core team. Everybody, I mean to say everybody. Special educator. I am a special educator. There are many people from America and Canada. You have early interventionists over there. So what is the role of a special educator? Focus on developing the academic and pre-academic skills. Okay, we help you to develop those skills. You cannot do it by yourself. You need a guided, some guidance from an expert. Then only you can achieve this. Speech and language pathologist. It's a communication disorder. My dear parents, you cannot manage without a speech language pathologist. If your child has severe communication issues, occupation therapist, concentration, attention, sensory, sitting tolerance, all these are, it's those comorbid things that comes with autism. You cannot separate autism from that, even stimming for that matter. So occupational therapist is a must in your core team. And of course, physicians. Now, I saw many parents, they said, my GP said, okay, somebody said, go and meet a child psychologist. for a diagnosis? Parents, no. You cannot get a diagnosis from a general physician. You cannot get a diagnosis from a child psychologist. If you need to go, these are the people. These are the people who can give. Requesting participants to check your mic, please. Okay. So these are the three people. Yes,
we have 5 minutes left for this.
Okay, thank you, Dipali.
Reminder.
Yeah, thank you. So these are the three people, core people, who can give a diagnosis for your child. And even though you have got a diagnosis, I would recommend you have to stay in touch either with a pediatric neurologist or developmental pediatrician for regular, and yearly checkup, or if it's a bi-yearly checkup. But you have to stay with these people because they are the people who are trained enough to help you. Okay, now there are some myths. I would say people were asking about diets. ASD can be cured with diet or other alternative treatments. Do you think it's a fact, parents? It's a myth. We have to be careful here whether autism can be cured or not. Nobody has ever cured autism. Okay, so if somebody says go on a GCF diet and it will cure your child, please, it's nothing can cure autism. Nothing has been proved yet that autism can be cured. So, Ayurveda might help your child to build his immunity, to develop his immunity. But I don't think any Ayurveda can cure autism. Your child enters with Ayurvedic shop, doctor gets his medicine and is out with autism. No, it doesn't work that way. The only thing that works for autism, other than these supplementary things, is early intervention. The more intense early intervention you get for your child, the better results you will reap. So ASD do not feel like or to socialize. Again, it's a myth. They have their different way. They cannot be as open as we are, but it's a myth that they don't want to socialize. You might say कि अरे मेरा बच्चा अपने भाई बहन के साथ बात ही नहीं करता. He doesn't want to talk to his siblings. It's not that. He has his different way. We have to understand we are talking about two different kind of communities. One is us and one is the community with autism. You have to understand that he wants to socialize, she wants to socialize, but her ways, her intensity, her method of expressing is totally different. Okay, again, I just mentioned, should you stop an autistic person's repetitive behavior like stimming? Please don't stop it. Try to understand the underlying cause. What makes the child stim? Okay, should autistic child attend separate programs? It's a myth. If your child has autism, unless and until it is very severe and he has a lot of behavior issues, that is the only time when you have to look for a special school. Or else your child will benefit more if he goes to a regular school. Why? He sees kids of his age and there is a lot of scope for him to imitate. So kindly remember that if you have a first choice to take admission in a regular school, please do that. Again, it says cannot become independent. It's not true. It's likely that most adults with ASD will always require some kind of support, but they can be independent. They can be independent. Okay. Now, the first line says, the video you're about to see was shot in December 2017. Now, let me take you to a journey of a special educator. You can see for yourself, I have kept this video on purpose so that you can see how a special education services along with the parent support can make a difference in the child. Now here, I'll share my screen. I had received this video in the year 2017. Okay, friends, I had received this video in the year 2017 when this child in this video was around, I think 3.5, 4 years. Okay, you can see the way she is trying to read. This was the first video that was sent to me to assess whether the child can be trained or not. And this is how we started our journey in December 2017.
That's Betty. That's Betty. Bye. Bye bye, Ma. Friday double. Give my you grandma. Check you too. Have their journey, dear. Okay, over 14 or 29. Last dollar pizza. I asked son, why could somebody do that? Try to make a pasta. Even punch the honey. Oh, pasta. Yes, yes. Daddy Ma's burning. Go I was the big then chef kept yeah, double sugar. Men make up the day go ha ha ha. Chef.
So parents, did you see? This was a 4-year child diagnosed with autism. Parents were giving her early intervention, taking her to all the therapists. This was the first time they brought her to a special educator. That was B. But before that, they got they were working on their early intervention. You could see the child had read that book so many times with her parents that she could understand the story and she was saying it from rote. What I said, rote learning. If you hear it 10 times, you get an idea of it. So she was doing it from her rote memory. Was it a real reading, parents? Answer for yourself. You'll be on mute. Was it a real reading? No. Of course, I would appreciate that a 4-year-old was ready to turn the page. So that shows she's ready to read. But whatever she was reading, was that a real reading? Forget the pronunciation. It wasn't. What did we all notice? She was just skipping words. She was looking at the picture. She was coming up with words. Now, the same girl, I will share a video of this girl, which was shot in October 2020, which is just 3 years, less than 3 years after the intervention. So we started from January 2018, and this is the same girl.
Nira is a happy and helpful girl. One day, Nira and her friends,
Friend. There's no S to it. Friend.
her friend Raj went to meet the royal family. This is Queen Shanti. She is wearing a full beautiful dress.
Okay.
She is very pretty, smart, and
Okay, parents. Now take a pause and think. What did you observe? What did you observe about this child? If you have observed keenly, you would have seen that she was pointing at each and every word. You can show me a thumbs up by saying, do you think now she was actually reading? Do parents think that she was actually, you can unmute also and you can give me an answer. Do you think she was now reading? Did she understand the meaning of reading?
Yes.
Right? This is what is the difference. And if you see, I have written in my data that in this 3 years, it was just 150, around 140 to 150 hours of remediation, which is like 4 hours of remediation per month approximately. And from that, she could achieve this. If it would have been some other child, it would have taken around 300 plus sessions to reach at this level. And let me tell you, this was possible only because of the mother's participation in this. And I'm very, very proud to share with this that the parent of this child is with us in the webinar today, and she is the presenter. So that is the power of parents' involvement with their children. Okay, so with that, I would like to end. I know Dipali already gave me the warning and I short by some time, but here it is. So now I will ask Dipali to continue. Okay, I will put Dipali. Participants, kindly go on mute, please. Please, it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. Participants, kindly go on mute, please. Okay, in another 7 minutes, we are going to, we are our meeting, remaining time is only 7 minutes. Will everybody like to log off and restart again? Because as I mentioned, it's a free account and, we cannot have a continuous webinar. So can everybody log out and log in again? In the meantime, we start with Dipali then. So I'm just ending the session. Everybody, please